Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to Thursday's maths lesson and the final one for this week. I'd like you to look at the mental arithmetic questions and please stop the video so that you can complete them. Welcome back, Year 4. I'm going to reveal the answers to the questions now. And for the final time, as we're moving on to something different come the next week, you can see that we've been using number bonds to 20 and number bonds to 100. If I just unpick then possibly how you might have solved a problem. So we had 100 subtract something was 56. So 100 take away 50 is obviously going to be 50. Take away 6 more is going to leave me 44. And 19 add something was 100. Well, add 1 is 20. Add 80 then is 100. Or I could have done 100 take 10, which is 90. Take away 9, which is 81. So I hope after several days on that now that you were very successful and able to work those out fairly swiftly. Once you've marked your answers, then please continue with the video. So today's Sapphire challenge will help everybody because everyone is going to be doing some rounding today. So bronze, silver, gold challenges are going to be rounding to the nearest whole number from a decimal. But let's just have a quick look, all of us, first of all, at rounding to the nearest 10. Now, if I have a look at this number line, I can see that I've got at the start number 20, at the end number 30, and placed on my number line is 28. And if I have to round to the nearest 10, which means the nearest multiple of 10, well, I can either round up to 30 or round down to 20. It's very important we know the number that comes halfway between 20 and 30, which is 25. 28 is larger than 25, therefore we round up. So 28 to the nearest 10 is 30. So let's just have a look then at this number line. I've got 30 as my multiple of 10 and 40 as my multiple of 10. I can see a number dotted here. Most of you already recognise that that's going to be 32. However, if I wasn't sure, again, what would have been important was to put my number that's halfway between 30 and 40. It makes it really clear if I've got less than 35, then I'm going to be rounding down. So 32 rounded to the nearest 10 is 30. 32 is closer on the number line to 30 than 40. Now, what happens though if I was considering the number 35? Because that's exactly in the middle. Well, we know the rule from lots of work in the autumn term is that we would round up. And we've got a big poster here that you're used to seeing in the autumn term, and it reminds us of the rule. If I'm rounding to the nearest 10, then I'm going to be looking at the number that comes before that. So if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, then I need to be looking at this number that comes before the tens column. And if it is 5 to 9, in other words, a 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, I'm going to round up to 40. If, however, it is a 0, a 1, 2, 3 or 4, 0 to 4, slide to the floor. And this is a rhyme that we practiced in the autumn term. 5 to 9, climb the vine. 0 to 4, slide to the floor. So if the number that precedes the tens column is 5 to 9, I round up. If the number that precedes the tens column is 0 to 4, I round down. So 35 would round up to 40. So I've got 40 as my multiple of 10, 50 as my multiple of 10. I know in the middle is 45, that would round up, and this is the number 46. So I can see that 6 is the number coming before my number in the tens column. So 5 to 9 round up. This is a 6, so it must therefore round up. Now, I'd like Sapphire to now start their challenge, but that information, those rules, are going to help the rest of us today with rounding our decimals to the nearest whole number. So what you're going to need to do really clearly to be successful today is to recognize when we round up, when we round down, and we're going to be applying that to some different problems. So let's have a look then at 5.3. Now, I've been working with decimals over the last couple of days. So first of all, I need to think about what's the whole numbers that would come before it and after it. Well, I can clearly see that my whole number is actually 5. So I'm going to need to put 5 on my number line. And if I can continue to count up, let's say in tenths, for example, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, I'd keep going, 5.6, and 5.7, 5.8, 5.9. My whole number is going to be 6. Now, where do I place it on this number line? Well, can everyone work out what is halfway between 5 and 6? Well done. You could say 5.5, but another way to write 5.5 as a decimal is 5.5. Okay, but 5.5 does actually mean 5.5. Now, where would 5.3 be then? Well, 5.3 is roughly going to be approximately around here. I can therefore already see that it is closer to 5. So 5.3 to the nearest whole number, my answer is going to be 5. But if I also refer to my rhyme, 5 to 9, climb the vine, 0 to 4, slide to the floor, I can see that if this is the number I'm rounding to, which is now my ones column, look at the number that comes before it, or the word I used earlier was precede it, the number that comes before it is a 3. So 0 to 4, if it was a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3 or a 4, I'm going to round down. And it's a 3, so I round down. But we can clearly see on the number line that it is closer to 5 as well. I wonder if you can remember what happens if it is exactly in the middle. Because that's not closer to 6 than it is to 5. It is in the middle. So the rule is, as hopefully we know now, 5 to 9, there's my number in the ones column. Will I round to 5? Will I round up? Well, the number that comes before it is a 5, so therefore I would round up. So 5.5 would indeed round up to 6. Let's have a look then at the number 13.7. If you've already worked out what that would round to the nearest whole number, then well done. But it's really important not to be complacent. So 13.7, what's my whole numbers that come, my whole number that comes before that is going to be 13. A common error I've seen is the people to put 12. They put 12 as the number that comes before and 14 as the whole number that comes after. But actually they've forgotten that 13 comes before 13.7. So this actually is incorrect, and my whole number that comes before 13.7 is 13. Again, think about my halfway point. What's halfway between 13 and 14? Well, the answer to that, as we saw earlier, is 13.5, or as a decimal, 13.5. Okay, we also know that we can say that as 13 and 5/10. So 13.7, I'll write this below this time, but that's going to be approximately around here. I can already see it's closer to 14, so 14 is going to be my whole number it rounds to. But very important, referring to the rhyme, 5 to 9, climb the vine. Okay, looking at my ones column, even though I've got tens and ones out, I'm looking at my ones column, okay, because that tells me that I need to look at the number before, and 5 to 9, I'm going to round up, making my ones column a 4. Okay, so yes, I've got 2 digits for my whole number, but my ones column is the important one to look at there. 49.5 then, hopefully straight away you've been able to in your head work out that that would be 50. But it's really important when rounding to think about the number that we would round up to or round down to, and then make that decision based on the fact, if I look at the ones column, 5 to 9, climb the vine, let's make sure we can still see that decimal point, I'm going to therefore round up. Okay, so my nearest whole number is 50. Now, today's problems, if you're going to do the bronze challenges, there's more problems than what are on the screen, but these are just a snapshot of them. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, but just to get our confidence up, you're starting just by not even doing any rounding. You're just actually putting these numbers on a number line, just to get our confidence up with decimals. Then you're thinking about, okay, what's the whole number that comes before these decimals and the whole number that comes after? Okay, so I can clearly see that that will be a 5. If I had written 5.0, that would still be correct because they're the same. And the whole number that comes after is 6. Again, had I decided to put 6.0, that would be correct as well. Now, looking at task C, sometimes what we call a closed procedure task, where I've got a gap, sometimes throws people, even though they do understand how to round. So the first thing I need to do is do what I've done here. I need to put on my whole number that comes before 4.2 and 4.6, and my whole number that comes after. Now I'm just going to focus on this number because 4.6, I would have the same two sentences written out again. So these two sentences are just for 4.2. So I'm going to write 4.2 here. It's closer to 4 than it is to 5. I'm now going to put 4.2 again. 4.2 rounds to 4 to the nearest whole number. And hopefully using all that language, filling that in, is really going to store that well in our brains, so that hopefully when we come back to this in a few weeks, we're going to remember this. If you're doing the silver challenges today, then you might want to draw yourself a number line to help you. And you've got a series of problems to solve as well. But do please try to show you're working where you need to. And what's important with a question like this is it says on task C, what are all of the possible numbers? Okay, a number with one decimal rounded to the nearest whole number is 45. So an example of one decimal would be a number like this. It's got one decimal place. There it is, one decimal. Now obviously that doesn't round to 45. That would round to 32. But I'm sure you can come up with some numbers that round to 45. But I want you to get all of them. Okay, so that's really important that you think carefully about how to do that. So good luck with today's challenge. Again, there's not masses to do today, but it is important to be accurate. Okay, so I really want you to think through, double check your answers, and good luck. Enjoy the weekend and the inset day when you get there year 4. Thank you very much.